If this video appeared in front of you, it's not random. It's a signal. Something is about to shift. And what Napoleon Hill discovered about the human mind wants you to understand what's coming before it arrives. There are moments when reality changes without warning, but before the external moves, the internal awakens. And this message is the awakening that precedes the turn. Listen carefully, not with rush, not with fear. Just listen, because something brought you here for a revelation. Before we continue with this message from Napoleon Hill, make the first act of mental commitment. Write in the comments, "I am ready for the impossible." Like this video as someone who marks the moment of a decision. And subscribe, because what you're about to discover isn't just theory. It's the method that separates those who dream from those who manifest. Now breathe deeply. Once more. Release. Calm the body. Let your heart slow down. Feel the air coming in, going out, taking away the weight of the day. Everything that brought you here, the doubts, the waiting, the signs, was the path preparing you for this hour. Nothing was wasted, nothing was coincidence, everything was alignment. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying the minds of the most successful people who ever lived. And what he discovered wasn't what most people expected. It wasn't about working harder. It wasn't about knowing the right people. It wasn't even about having the right opportunities. What Napoleon Hill uncovered was something far deeper, something that seemed impossible until you understood it. He discovered that there's an invisible frequency in the human mind, a mental wavelength that determines everything you attract, everything you repel, and everything you create. Most people live their entire lives without ever knowing this frequency exists. They work, they struggle, they try, they fail, and they never understand why. But the ones who succeed, the ones who seem to manifest the impossible, they've tuned into this frequency. And once you tune in, everything changes. In every adversity, Napoleon Hill wrote, there is the seed of an equivalent benefit. The seed is there inside what seemed like chaos, loss, or delay. What seemed like confusion was fertile soil. Something was being planted that you're only going to see now. Nothing escapes divine mathematics. Nothing is random in this realm. If this video found you, it's because something decided it was time. Now breathe again and listen with your heart. There are cycles that repeat until consciousness awakens. While the mind insists on controlling, the spirit waits for a moment of release. And when you release, the movement begins. What's going to happen from here forward won't just be blessing. It will be revelation. You're going to understand why certain doors closed, why certain paths stopped, why people needed to leave. Nothing was loss, it was protection. Nothing was delay, it was preparation. Napoleon Hill also said, temporary defeat should be seen only as a step towards success. What you called an ending was just the pause before the restart. And right now, in this very moment, you're standing at that restart point. But here's what most people don't understand. The restart doesn't happen in the external world first. It happens in the invisible realm of thought. Close your eyes internally. See a road in front of you. It seemed full of curves, but as the light grows, you realize it was a straight line seen from the wrong angle. This is how spiritual life works. What seemed confused now begins to align. And what's coming is the result of everything you've already faced. Say in a calm voice, I trust the process. Once more, I trust the process. And repeat, I trust the process. Each word is a seed of wisdom. Trust is the soil where miracles germinate. But here's the part Napoleon Hill discovered that changes everything. Trust alone isn't enough. You can trust, you can believe, you can hope, and still remain exactly where you are. Because there's something blocking the frequency. There's something interfering with the signal. And until you identify what's blocking it, the impossible remains impossible. Napoleon Hill called these blocks invisible contracts, mental agreements you made without even knowing it, contracts with limitation, contracts with fear, contracts with unworthiness. And these contracts are so deep, so hidden, that your conscious mind doesn't even see them. But your subconscious mind is following them every single day. Think about it. How many times have you been close to something you wanted, and then somehow, some way it slipped away? How many times have you had the opportunity right in front of you, and found yourself sabotaging it without understanding why? How many times have you spoken words of abundance but felt a pull towards scarcity? That pull, that resistance, that sabotage, it's not bad luck. It's not the universe being cruel. It's the invisible contracts running in the background of your mind. And Napoleon Hill teaches that until you break these contracts, you'll keep experiencing the same patterns, the same blocks, the same ceiling. But here's the revelation that seems impossible. These contracts can be broken in an instant. Not through years of therapy, not through endless affirmations that don't stick, but through a specific mental process that reprograms the subconscious frequency. And that process is what this message contains. Napoleon Hill wrote, "The starting point of all achievement is desire." But he also discovered something more. The starting point of all limitation is unconscious agreement. You agreed to something, somewhere along the way. Maybe when you were young. Maybe when someone told you that you couldn't. Maybe when you failed and decided it meant something about who you are. You agreed, and that agreement became a contract, and that contract became your ceiling. Breathe deeply. Feel the weight of that truth, but don't let it discourage you. Let it illuminate, because once you see the contract, you can dissolve it. Once you identify the agreement, you can cancel it. And once you cancel it, the frequency shifts. And when the frequency shifts, the impossible becomes inevitable. There's a reason this video appeared to you today. There's a reason you're still watching. Something in you already knows that you've been living under invisible limits. Something in you is ready to break free. And this message is the key. Napoleon Hill taught that the mind is the only thing over which any person has complete, unchallenged right of control. But most people never use this power. They let the contracts run. They let the old agreements dictate the new reality. They live in a mental prison and call it fate. But you're different. You're here. You're listening. And that means the awakening has already begun. The frequency is already starting to shift. You just need to understand how to complete the shift. You need to understand the method. In the book of Proverbs it says, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." You've planned a lot, and that's good. But now is the time to let something greater direct. What's coming isn't improvisation, it's purpose. And purpose has its own clock. When the clock awakens, nothing can delay it. And the alarm has sounded. This video appeared because the spiritual alarm rang for you. The old cycle has ended. A new one is beginning. And Napoleon Hill teaches something profound here. The turning point in someone's life happens at the moment of the decision to believe. You're at that turning point. And the decision is simple. Either you believe and cross over, or you doubt and stay where you are. But you were brought here because something knows you're ready to cross. Now, repeat with me. I choose to believe. Once more, I choose to believe. And again, I choose to believe. The universe listens to clarity. Heaven responds to decision. And when the heart decides, the invisible moves. You're going to start noticing signs in the coming days. Small confirmations, encounters, coincidences. Don't doubt them. They're the traces of the new time revealing itself. When you walk in faith, you recognize the signs. Breathe again. Let the body feel light. Let the heart open. Something is whispering now. Do not fear what's coming. It's here to honor you. You're not about to lose, you're about to harvest. But before the harvest, the field must be cleared. And sometimes the clearing looks like loss. It's not. It's divine reorganization. Everything has its determined time, it's written, and there's a time for every purpose under heaven. Now is the time to understand. It's not the time of waiting, it's the time of revelation. The seed that was hidden begins to break through the earth. What was concealed begins to show itself. What seemed distant begins to approach. Napoleon Hill discovered that before success comes into anyone's life, they certainly encounter many temporary defeats. The temporary defeats are already in the past. They fulfilled their role of preparing your character. Spiritual success is coming, and with it, material success, emotional success, relational success. When the key turns, everything changes. And the key has turned. Jesus said, "What I do you don't know now, but you will understand afterward." The afterward has arrived. Now you understand. Now everything makes sense. Breathe. Feel the energy changing around you. The environment where you are begins to vibrate differently because the internal vibration has changed. Everything that is yours begins to locate you. Right people, right opportunities, right paths. Nothing will be forced anymore. What is yours will come by attraction. You were hidden for a time. Now you're being revealed not because you asked, but because you're ready. And when heaven recognizes readiness, destiny manifests. Repeat, I am ready for what has been prepared. Once more, I am ready for what has been prepared. Again, I am ready for what has been prepared. These words are decree and confirmation. Faith has spoken, and the universe has listened. From now on, everything that seemed distant will begin to approach. Small things will change. Messages, encounters, inspirations, coincidences. You'll know. And when you know, you'll smile. Because you'll remember that you were warned. It will happen. The mind of the air understands that preparation is part of the miracle. The mind of the air doesn't run, it flows, doesn't force, permits, doesn't argue, trusts. So breathe once more and say, I flow in divine timing. Once more, I flow in divine timing. You're being repositioned not just spiritually but energetically. Your vibration now matches what you asked for, and when the vibration matches, reality obeys. Napoleon Hill wrote, "What the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve." But there's a detail. True conquest doesn't come from ego, it comes from faith. Faith is the power that transforms desire into reality. And tonight, your desire has been elevated to the category of faith. The request became decree. The dream became destiny. You're being told what you dreamed has already been written. Now just live it. Something will happen that will confirm this. A sign, an encounter, an answer. And you'll understand that this video was the beginning of a new time. Because thoughts of peace and not of harm have been prepared to give you the end you hope for. The end you hoped for isn't the end, it's the beginning. And the beginning is now in front of you. Breathe deeply. Feel the peace that arrives. It's the harbinger of manifestation. Where there's peace, there's presence. Where there's presence, miracles flourish. Now declare with faith, I am ready for the miracle that comes. Once more, I am ready for the miracle that comes. Feel the body vibrate, the heart pulse differently, the environment change temperature. It's divine presence enveloping you. You are loved, you are seen, you are guided, you are chosen. Nothing you lived was in vain. Every tear was watering, every wait was preparation, every silence was an answer. Napoleon Hill said, "Great achievements are born from overcoming great challenges, and you've overcome. Now you'll harvest. The harvest won't be small because the preparation was great." Breathe again. See mentally an illuminated road ahead. You walk on it with confidence. Each step is light. Each breath is faith. And with every meter, the miracle approaches. The path of the just is like the dawn light that shines brighter and brighter until it becomes perfect day. The dawn has begun, and the brightness won't stop. You've entered the time of spiritual aurora, the time of revelation, harvest, and fullness. The field is open, the harvest is ripe, the time is now. Now repeat the final affirmations of this first revelation. I am the new time being manifested. Once more, I am the new time being manifested. And again, I am the new time being manifested. I live the fulfilled promise. Again, I live the fulfilled promise. Once more, I live the fulfilled promise. I trust the silence and the voice within. Again, I trust the silence and the voice within. And once more, I trust the silence and the voice within. These words are not just sounds, they're frequencies. And frequencies break contracts. Every time you speak them, something invisible shifts. An old agreement weakens. A new pathway opens. And this is exactly what Napoleon Hill discovered in his deepest research. He found that the human mind operates on 3 levels simultaneously. The conscious mind, which thinks it's in control, the subconscious mind, which actually runs most of your life, and what he called the infinite intelligence, the universal mind that connects everything. Most people only work with the conscious level. They set goals consciously. They make plans consciously. They take action consciously. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But Napoleon Hill taught that real transformation happens when you reach the subconscious level, because that's where the invisible contracts live. That's where the old programming runs. That's where the frequency is set. And unless you change the subconscious frequency, the conscious efforts will keep hitting the same ceiling. Think of it this way. Your conscious mind is like the captain of a ship, giving orders. But your subconscious mind is the crew below deck, actually steering the vessel. And if the crew believes the ship can't go beyond a certain point, it doesn't matter what the captain orders. The ship will turn around. The crew will find reasons, storms, mechanical problems, lack of supplies. Something will always stop the journey. This is why people sabotage themselves. It's not weakness. It's not lack of willpower. It's the crew below deck following old contracts that say, we don't go beyond this point. This is where we turn back. This is our limit. And Napoleon Hill identified 3 specific contracts that keep most people locked in limitation. 3 invisible agreements that run in the subconscious of almost everyone who struggles. And here's what makes them so dangerous. They don't feel like contracts. They feel like truth. They feel like reality. They feel like just the way things are. The first invisible contract is what Napoleon Hill called the contract of unworthiness. This is the deepest one. This is the one that was written earliest, usually in childhood. It's the agreement that says, I am not enough as I am. I need to prove my worth. I need to earn my place. I need to become someone different before I deserve good things. And this contract is brutal because it's invisible. You don't wake up in the morning and think, today I'm going to live from unworthiness. You just feel it. You feel it when an opportunity comes and you hesitate. You feel it when someone offers you something and you question their motives. You feel it when success starts coming and you find ways to push it away because deep down, something whispers, this isn't for someone like you. Napoleon Hill teaches about a principle he observed in countless lives. Before someone could achieve lasting success, they had to break the unworthiness contract. Because you can have all the strategies, all the knowledge, all the opportunities in the world, but if you don't believe you're worthy of receiving them, you'll reject them. Not consciously, subconsciously. The crew below deck will sabotage the journey. And here's how you know if this contract is running in you. Ask yourself, when good things come, do I immediately look for the catch? Do I wait for the other shoe to drop? Do I feel more comfortable struggling than receiving? If yes, the unworthiness contract is active, but breathe, because awareness is the first step to dissolution. You can't change what you can't see, and now you're seeing it. The light is hitting the contract, and light dissolves darkness. The second invisible contract Napoleon Hill identified is the contract of scarcity. This one says, there's not enough. Resources are limited. If someone else has it, that means less for me. I need to hold tight, protect, hoard, because abundance is an illusion. This contract creates a mental frequency of lack. And the universe, or infinite intelligence, as Napoleon Hill called it, responds to frequency. When your frequency broadcasts scarcity, you attract situations that confirm scarcity. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because reality mirrors consciousness. Napoleon Hill studied millionaires and broke people alike. And what he found was stunning. The millionaires thought in terms of abundance even when they had nothing. The broke people thought in terms of scarcity even when they had everything. It wasn't about the money in the bank. It was about the frequency in the mind. The scarcity contract makes you compete instead of create. It makes you jealous instead of inspired. It makes you grip instead of flow. And as long as that contract is active, abundance can't reach you, because your frequency is set to lack. Here's how you know if this contract is running. Do you feel anxiety when you spend money, even on necessary things? Do you feel threatened by other people's success? Do you believe that wealth is somehow immoral, or that rich people took something from others to get rich? If yes, the scarcity contract is active. And again, breathe, because you're becoming aware. And awareness is power. The contract loses strength the moment you see it clearly. Now the third invisible contract, and Napoleon Hill said this one is the most dangerous because it hides behind logic. It's the contract of postponement. This contract says, not yet, not now, I'm not ready. I need more time, more preparation, more proof before I can step into what I desire. This contract is brilliant in its deception. It sounds reasonable, it sounds humble, it sounds wise. I should wait until I'm more prepared. I should wait until the timing is perfect. I should wait until I have more evidence. And meanwhile, years pass, decades pass, and the waiting becomes the life. Napoleon Hill teaches that successful people have something he called definiteness of purpose. They know what they want and they move toward it now, not someday, now. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait until fear disappears. They move with the fear, through the fear, and the movement itself creates the conditions. But the postponement contract keeps you in perpetual preparation, always getting ready, never being ready, always about to start, never starting. And the cruelest part, the contract makes you believe you're being responsible, you're being careful, you're being smart, but what you're actually being is stuck. Here's how you know if this contract is running. Do you have dreams you've been planning to start for years? Do you tell yourself, when X happens, then I'll do Y? Do you feel like you're always waiting for some external sign before you can begin? If yes, the postponement contract is active. These three contracts, unworthiness, scarcity, and postponement, work together. They form a cage, an invisible prison that keeps you locked in patterns that don't serve you. And the worst part? You defend the cage, you explain it, you justify it. Because the contracts have convinced you that they're protecting you. But Napoleon Hill discovered something that changes everything. These contracts were installed by repetition, and they can be uninstalled by repetition. The subconscious mind learns through repetition. It doesn't argue, it doesn't judge, it just accepts what's repeated. So if you were told 1,000 times as a child that you weren't enough, your subconscious accepted it as fact. It signed the contract. But now as an adult, you have the power to feed your subconscious new information, to repeat new truths, to install new contracts. And when you do this consciously, deliberately, with emotion and faith, the old contracts begin to dissolve, the frequency begins to shift, and reality begins to respond. This is not magic. This is mental law. Napoleon Hill called it autosuggestion, the practice of deliberately influencing your own subconscious mind through repeated emotionalized thought. And he proved that this practice, when done correctly, could reprogram any limiting belief, break any invisible contract, and shift any frequency. But here's the key. It has to be done with faith, not just intellectual agreement, but deep, emotional conviction. The subconscious doesn't respond to words alone. It responds to the feeling behind the words. So when you repeat an affirmation without feeling it, without believing it, without embodying it, nothing changes. The old contract stays in place, but when you repeat a truth with your whole being, when you feel it in your bones, when you declare it with unshakable faith, the subconscious listens. The contract breaks, the frequency shifts, and the impossible begins to happen. Napoleon Hill wrote extensively about a concept he called applied faith, not passive hope, but active belief, faith that moves, that speaks, that declares, that acts as if the desired outcome is already real. And he found that every person who achieved what seemed impossible had mastered this applied faith. They didn't wait to feel worthy, they declared worthiness and acted from it. They didn't wait for evidence of abundance, they assumed abundance and moved from it. They didn't wait for perfect timing, they claimed now as the perfect time and stepped forward. And this is what you're being called to do right now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel more ready. Right now. Because the frequency shift doesn't happen in the future. It happens in the present moment, in this moment, in the decision you make while listening to these words. Breathe deeply. Feel the truth of what's being said. You've been living under invisible contracts, agreements you never consciously made, but that have been running your life anyway. Unworthiness, scarcity, postponement. These three have formed the cage. But the cage door is open now. You just need to walk through. And walking through means breaking the contracts, not through struggle but through declaration, through conscious reprogramming of the subconscious mind, through what Napoleon Hill called the transmutation of thought into physical reality. Because here's the final piece he discovered. Thoughts are not just thoughts. Thoughts are things. They have frequency, they have power, they have creative force. And when you change your thoughts, you change your frequency. And when you change your frequency, you change what you attract, what you create, and what manifests in your life. This is the science behind what seems impossible. This is the mechanism behind miracles. Not violation of natural law, but application of mental law that most people don't know exists. And you're learning it now. You're seeing behind the curtain. You're being given the key. Say this with complete faith. I break every contract of unworthiness. Again, I break every contract of unworthiness. Once more, I break every contract of unworthiness. Feel the words. Don't just speak them, embody them. Let them sink deep into the subconscious soil. Now say, I break every contract of scarcity. Again, I break every contract of scarcity. And once more, I break every contract of scarcity. Feel the chains loosening. Feel the frequency shifting. And finally, I break every contract of postponement. Again, I break every contract of postponement. Once more, I break every contract of postponement. Feel yourself stepping forward. Feel the movement beginning. These declarations are not wishful thinking. They're commands to your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind, when given clear commands with emotional force, must obey. This is law. This is how the mind works. And Napoleon Hill proved it across thousands of case studies. But there's one more layer. One more level that must be addressed before the frequency shift becomes permanent. And this is the layer that most people miss. This is the secret within the secret. And it's what we'll explore in the next part of this revelation, because breaking the contracts is step one. But installing the new frequency is step two. And that's where the real transformation happens. That's where the impossible becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Breathe deeply now. Feel the space that's been created. Where the old contracts lived, there's now openness. Where there was resistance, there's now possibility. You've begun the dissolution. But nature abhors a vacuum, and the subconscious mind must be filled with something. If you break the old contracts but don't install new truths, the old patterns will creep back in. The default programming will reassert itself. This is why so many people experience temporary change, but not lasting transformation. They clear the old, but they don't plant the new. And Napoleon Hill understood this perfectly. He didn't just teach people to remove limiting beliefs, he taught them to install empowering truths, to consciously create new contracts with reality, contracts of worthiness, abundance, and immediate action. What Napoleon Hill called definiteness of purpose was really the practice of programming the subconscious mind with crystal clear intention, not vague wishes, not half-hearted hopes, but definite, specific emotionalized instruction that the subconscious could follow. He discovered that the subconscious mind is like the most obedient servant you could ever have. It will do exactly what you tell it to do. But here's the challenge. It's always listening. It listens to your words, your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs, and it takes everything literally. It doesn't judge whether something is good for you or bad for you. It just follows the instructions it receives. So when you say, "I never have enough money," your subconscious hears an instruction. Create situations where money is scarce. When you say, "Nothing ever works out for me," your subconscious hears, "Block opportunities and create failure patterns." When you say, "I'm not the kind of person who succeeds at this," your subconscious hears, "Sabotage any attempt to succeed at this." It's not being cruel, it's being obedient. And most people spend their entire lives giving their subconscious terrible instructions without even realizing it. Then they wonder why life keeps playing out the same way. But Napoleon Hill teaches the opposite approach: conscious creation through deliberate instruction. And this is where the method becomes practical. This is where theory turns into transformation. This is the process he called the reprogramming of mental frequency. The process has three essential components: First, clarity. You must know exactly what frequency you're installing. Not "I want to be successful," which is vague and powerless, but "I am a conduit for unlimited prosperity that flows to me and through me easily and naturally." That's specific. That's clear. That's a command the subconscious can execute. Second, emotion. The subconscious responds to feeling, not just words. You can say the most powerful affirmation 1,000 times, but if you say it with doubt, with skepticism, with a tone of "this probably won't work," nothing changes. But when you say it with conviction, with certainty, with the feeling of it already being true, the subconscious accepts it as fact. Emotion is the seal that makes the instructions stick. Third, repetition. One declaration, no matter how powerful, won't override years of old programming. But consistent repetition, done with emotion and clarity, absolutely will. Napoleon Hill found that most people need approximately 30 days of consistent practice to begin seeing the old contracts weaken and the new frequency take hold. Not 30 days of passive reading, 30 days of active, emotionalized daily practice. And here's what happens during those 30 days. At first, nothing seems to change externally. The old patterns are still visible. The old circumstances are still present, and this is where most people quit. They say, "See, it doesn't work." But what they don't realize is that the internal shift is already happening. The frequency is already beginning to change. The subconscious is already reorganizing, and the external reality is about to catch up. Napoleon Hill compared it to tuning a radio. When you turn the dial, there's a moment where you hear both stations at once. The old frequency and the new frequency. Overlapping, creating static. It sounds like chaos. But if you keep turning the dial, suddenly the old station disappears and the new station comes in crystal clear. You haven't created a new station. You've simply tuned into a different frequency that was always there. Always broadcasting, waiting for you to align with it. This is the truth about manifestation that most people miss. You're not creating something out of nothing. You're tuning into a frequency of reality that already exists. The abundance you desire already exists. The success you want already exists. The life you dream of already exists. But it exists on a frequency that your current mental programming isn't aligned with. And when you reprogram the frequency through conscious, emotionalized repetition, you align. And when you align, reality shifts. Not because you changed reality, but because you changed your access point to reality. You tuned the dial, and the new station came in clear. In the book of Hebrews it says, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Napoleon Hill understood this at the deepest level. Faith isn't blind belief. Faith is the mental frequency that connects you to the unseen reality that will become seen. It's the tuning mechanism, and without it, you stay locked on the old station no matter how much you want to change. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be born with faith. You can build it, you can cultivate it, you can strengthen it through the very practice we're discussing, through conscious reprogramming of the subconscious mind, through emotionalized repetition of truth. And this brings us to the actual method, the specific practice that Napoleon Hill designed for breaking old contracts and installing new frequencies. It's simple, but it requires commitment. It's easy to understand, but it demands consistency. And if you do it exactly as instructed, something impossible will happen. The frequency will shift, the reality will respond, and your life will transform in ways that logic cannot explain. Are you ready for this? Because once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. Once you see how it works, you become responsible for using it. And that responsibility is actually the greatest gift, because it means you're no longer a victim of circumstance. You're a creator of reality through the power of directed thought. Breathe deeply, center yourself. What you're about to receive is the key Napoleon Hill spent his entire life refining. It's the distillation of thousands of interviews, hundreds of case studies, and decades of research into the nature of success and the mechanics of the mind. The method is called the 5 Declarations of Frequency Alignment. These are not random affirmations. These are carefully crafted statements designed to reprogram the 5 essential areas where invisible contracts cause the most damage. worthiness, abundance, timing, receptivity, and manifestation. Each declaration addresses one area. Each declaration is designed to be spoken aloud with full emotion twice per day, once in the morning before the day begins and once at night before sleep. Why these times? Because the subconscious is most receptive in the moments just after waking and just before sleeping. The conscious mind is quieter, the critical factor is lower, the instructions go in deeper. And here's what Napoleon Hill emphasized: you must speak these declarations as if they are already true. Not "I hope this becomes true" or "I'm trying to make this true," but "this is true." The subconscious doesn't understand future tense, it only understands present reality. So you must declare the new reality in present tense with complete conviction, even if the external circumstances haven't caught up yet. This is applied faith. This is the practice that separates those who transform from those who merely wish for transformation. And if you do this for 30 days without missing a single day, Napoleon Hill guarantees that something will shift. Not might shift, will shift, because this is mental law, and mental law is as reliable as physical law. Now I want you to prepare yourself. In the next part of this message, you're going to receive the 5 declarations. You're going to speak them with me, and in that moment, the frequency shift will begin. The impossible will start its movement from the unseen realm into the seen realm. The old contracts will begin their final dissolution, and the new agreements with reality will be signed. But before we do that, you need to understand something crucial. These declarations are not magic words. They're tools, and like any tool, they only work if you use them correctly. You can't speak them once and expect everything to change. You can't speak them with doubt and expect them to overcome years of negative programming. You have to commit. You have to show up. You have to do the practice. And here's why this matters. Napoleon Hill found that the people who succeeded weren't necessarily more talented, more intelligent, or more fortunate than those who failed. The difference was persistence. The winners kept going when the losers quit. They kept declaring when others stopped believing. They kept applying faith when others fell back into doubt. So as you prepare to receive these declarations, make a commitment to yourself right now. Not just to hear them, but to use them. Not just to understand them intellectually, but to practice them daily. Because this is your moment. This is your turning point. And whether you transform or stay the same depends entirely on what you do after this video ends. The universe is waiting. Your new frequency is waiting. The life you've dreamed of is waiting. But waiting is all it will do until you take action, until you apply the method, until you reprogram the frequency. Napoleon Hill wrote something near the end of his life that sums up everything. The ladder of success is never crowded at the top. Why? Because most people quit at the bottom. They learn the method, they understand the principle, they see the truth, and then they go back to their old patterns. They let the old contracts reassert themselves. They tune back to the old station. But you're different. You've come this far. You've listened this deeply. And something in you knows that this is your time, this is your message, this is your key to the impossible. So breathe once more. Deep and slow. Feel yourself standing at the threshold. Behind you, the old contracts, the old frequency, the old patterns. Before you, a new reality, a new vibration, a new life. And the only thing between you and that new reality is the decision to cross, the decision to commit, the decision to practice. Say this declaration of commitment. I commit to the transformation of my mental frequency. Again, I commit to the transformation of my mental frequency. Once more, I commit to the transformation of my mental frequency. Good. The commitment has been spoken. The universe has heard. Your subconscious has accepted the instruction. Now you're ready for the method. You're ready for the 5 declarations that will reprogram everything. You're ready for the impossible to begin its movement towards you. In the next moments, everything changes. The old ends. The new begins. And you step into the frequency of those who don't just dream about success. They live it. Now we arrive at the moment everything has been building toward. The 5 declarations that Napoleon Hill teaches will reprogram your subconscious frequency. These are not merely words. These are commands to the deepest part of your mind. These are contracts with a new reality. And when you speak them with faith, with emotion, with absolute conviction, the impossible begins. I'm going to share each declaration with you. After I speak it, you will repeat it aloud, not in your head, aloud. Because the spoken word has power that silent thought does not. The vibration of your own voice speaking truth creates a resonance in your body, your mind, and your energy field. This is ancient wisdom and modern science combined. And it works. Remember, speak each declaration as if it is already true. Not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a statement of present reality. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between experienced reality and vividly imagined reality. So when you declare something as true with enough conviction, your subconscious accepts it and begins to reorganize your life to match it. Are you ready? Then let us begin the reprogramming. The first declaration, worthiness. This declaration dissolves the contract of unworthiness and installs a frequency of inherent value. Napoleon Hill teaches that prosperity flows naturally to those who know they are worthy to receive it. Not because they earned it through suffering, but because they exist. Worthiness is your birthright, not your achievement. Listen first, then repeat with your whole heart. The universe recognizes me as a worthy vessel of infinite abundance. I am enough, exactly as I am. Every cell of my being vibrates with deserving. I receive without guilt. I prosper without apology. I succeed without proving. My worthiness is not earned, it is inherent. I claim it now. Say it now. Feel every word. Let the truth of it sink into your bones. This is your new contract. You are worthy. Not because of what you do, but because of what you are. A divine creation, designed for abundance. The second declaration, abundance. This declaration dissolves the contract of scarcity and installs a frequency of unlimited supply. Napoleon Hill discovered that millionaires think in terms of circulation, not accumulation. Money flows to them because they see themselves as channels, not containers. Abundance is not something you chase, it's something you align with. Listen, then declare, I am an open channel for prosperity that flows endlessly. Wealth moves through me and to me with divine ease. There is no lack in the universe, only infinite supply. What I need appears by natural law. I release all fear of scarcity. I trust the flow. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. I am abundance made visible. Speak it now with absolute certainty. Feel the energy of abundance surrounding you. See yourself as a river, not a dam. Abundance flows, and you are in the flow. The third declaration, timing. This declaration dissolves the contract of postponement and installs a frequency of immediate alignment. Napoleon Hill teaches that successful people act in the now. They don't wait for perfect conditions because they understand that action creates conditions. The power is always in the present moment. Listen, then proclaim, now is my time. This moment is my opportunity. I no longer postpone what my soul knows is ready. Every breath I take moves me closer to my manifestation. I am not waiting. I am acting. I am not becoming. I am being. The power of now flows through my decisions. Divine timing is this moment. I step forward with faith. Declare it. Feel the urgency without anxiety. Feel the readiness without force. You are not waiting anymore. You are claiming. You are stepping. You are becoming what you've always been. The fourth declaration, receptivity. This declaration opens the channels that have been closed by fear, doubt, and old wounds. Napoleon Hill teaches that most people are closed receivers. They ask for abundance, but their energy pushes it away. They pray for miracles, but their hearts are locked. This declaration unlocks you. Listen, then receive. I open myself fully to receive all that flows toward me. My hands are open. My heart is open. My mind is open. I release the need to control how my blessings arrive. I welcome support. I welcome gifts. I welcome grace. I am a grateful receiver. I accept the universe's generosity without resistance. Every good thing finds its way to me effortlessly. Speak this with softness. Feel your defenses lowering. Feel your grip releasing. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to control every outcome. You can receive. You can allow. You can let life love you. The fifth declaration, manifestation. This is the declaration of completion, the seal on the new contract. Napoleon Hill teaches that the final step in any achievement is the unwavering belief that it is already done, not will be done, is done. This declaration anchors the new frequency into permanent reality. Listen, then seal it. What I have declared is already manifest in the unseen realm and now becomes visible. I speak my reality into existence. My words have creative power. My faith moves mountains. My frequency attracts exactly what matches it. I am living the impossible made possible. It is done. It is done. It is done. Speak it 3 times. It is done. It is done. It is done. Let those words echo in your spirit. Feel the finality. Feel the completion. Feel the absolute certainty that the shift has occurred. Breathe deeply now. Sit in the silence. Something has changed. You feel it, don't you? A lightness, a clarity, a sense of alignment that wasn't there before. That's the frequency shift. That's the old contracts dissolving and the new contracts activating. That's the impossible beginning its movement from the invisible to the visible. Napoleon Hill proved through decades of research that this method works. Not sometimes, not for lucky people, for everyone who applies it with consistency and faith. The only variable is you, your commitment, your practice, your willingness to show up every single day and declare these truths until they become so deeply embedded in your subconscious that your external reality has no choice but to reflect them. And here's what you need to know about the next 7 days. This is critical. In the next 7 days, you will be tested, not by the universe punishing you, but by the old frequency trying to reassert itself. Old thoughts will come back. Old doubts will whisper. Old patterns will try to pull you back to the familiar station. This is normal. This is expected. This is part of the process. And this is where most people fail. They do the practice once, they feel the shift, and then when the old thoughts return, they think it didn't work. So they quit. They go back to the old frequency. And nothing changes. But you're going to be different. Because you understand that the test is proof that the shift is happening. The old frequency only fights back when it's losing power. So when doubt comes, you don't entertain it. You declare again. When fear whispers, you don't listen. You declare again. When the old pattern tries to reassert, you don't follow. You declare again. This is the persistence Napoleon Hill wrote about. This is the applied faith. And this is what transforms your life. Not the single moment of insight, but the daily practice of alignment. So here's your commitment. For the next 30 days, speak these 5 declarations twice per day, morning and night, with emotion, with conviction, with faith. And watch what happens. Watch the signs appear. Watch the opportunities open. Watch the people show up. Watch the circumstances shift. And when it happens, not if but when, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that this video wasn't random, it was appointed. You'll remember that this message wasn't entertainment, it was activation. You'll remember that Napoleon Hill's teachings aren't theory, they're law. In the book of Mark it says, "Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." That's not religious mysticism, that's mental law, that's frequency alignment. That's what Napoleon Hill proved scientifically. When you believe you have received before you see it physically, you activate the frequency that makes it physical. You've done that today. You've believed. You've declared. You've activated. Now comes the part where you maintain, where you practice, where you prove to yourself and to the universe that you're serious about this transformation. And let me tell you something. You wouldn't have watched this far if you weren't ready. You wouldn't have stayed with this message if the timing wasn't perfect. You wouldn't have felt what you're feeling right now if this wasn't your moment. So own it, claim it, live it. You are not the person you were when you started this video. Something has shifted. The frequency has changed. The old contracts are broken, the new declarations are active, and the impossible is already in motion. Napoleon Hill's final teaching was this: the starting point of all achievement is desire, kept alive by hope, made active by faith. You have the desire. That's why you're here. You have the hope. That's what brought you through this message. Now activate the faith. Practice the declarations, live the frequency, and watch your reality transform. Breathe one last time, deep and complete. Feel the peace. Feel the power. Feel the knowing that something real just happened. Not in the external world yet, but in the realm where all external reality is created. The realm of consciousness. You've planted seeds in the most fertile soil that exists, your own subconscious mind. And those seeds will grow. They must grow. It's law. Napoleon Hill said that the moment of decision is the moment of power. You watched until the very end because something in you already knew it was time to change. Now write in the comments, "The impossible begins now." These words aren't just text. They're the decree that activates everything you've just learned. Share this video with someone who needs this message, someone who's ready to break their invisible contracts, someone who's been waiting for permission to believe in the impossible. And remember this, in the next 7 days, pay attention to the signs. Notice the coincidences that aren't coincidences. Notice the opportunities that appear. Notice the thoughts that shift. Notice the peace that grows. The impossible has already begun to move in your direction. The universe is listening. Your subconscious is reorganizing. Your frequency has changed. It is done.